Welcome to The Bureau, the official podcast of the International UFO Bureau. Founded in 1957 and reimagined for today, we're fusing decades of discovery with next-gen tech to uncover the truth about unidentified anomalous phenomena. Join Executive Director Terry Keel, CEO Mindy Totfest, and Director of Research Melissa Madrigal. 3 generations, 1 mission: to investigate the unknown and bring the truth into focus. This is The Bureau.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Bureau, where 3 generations of women come together to discuss the truth behind unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm Mindy Totfest, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Miss Terry Lynn Kill and Miss Melissa Madrigal. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hi, how are you guys?
So I'm excited about our show today because this is one of my favorite people that we email back and forth with, and we actually get to touch base with him today and talk face to face. And I know we were talking behind set and catching up just a little bit with him, but I was like, wait, because I want the audience to hear all the great things that he's doing. So, Melissa, I know that you've been looking into some of the historical cases, and we're going to bring some to us. And I think there's one that we're going to reiterate from last week even that we might have already covered. But what do you got for us?
We got 3 of them again. So our first case, on the night of October 11th, 1973, 2 Mississippi shipyard workers, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, claimed they were abducted by a strange robotic beings while fishing along the Pascagoula River. They reported being taken aboard a glowing, oval-shaped craft, examined, and then released unharmed within minutes. Their frightened demeanor and a secretly recorded conversation at the sheriff's office convinced investigators they truly believed what they saw. The case drew national attention and remains one of the most famous and puzzling UFO abduction accounts in American history, with both men maintaining their stories for decades. That one I find definitely so interesting. The second one was on October 18th of 1973. Army Reserve Captain Lawrence Coyne and his helicopter crew were flying near Mansfield, Ohio, when a large cigar-shaped UFO with a bright red light reportedly approached their aircrafts. As the object neared, the helicopter's instruments and communications failed, and the crew described being pulled upward despite a descendant rate of 500 feet per minute. The craft emitted an intense green light that filled the cockpit. Completely lost my thing here. The craft emitted an intense green light that filled the cockpit before shooting straight up and vanishing. When control was regained, the helicopter was unexpectedly at a higher altitude. The Coyne helicopter incident remains one of the most well-documented and credible UFO encounters involving military personnel. That one's cool.
Very cool.
I know. I like those ones. So our third case was on October 15th in 1989. The residents of the Voronezh, Russia, including several children, reported seeing a large glowing spherical UFO descended into a city park, followed by the appearance of a tall humanoid being with robotic movements. Witness described one figure carrying a small device that caused the boys to vanish temporarily before reappearing in a different location. And Soviet news agencies and even government scientists investigated the case, confirming physical impressions in the soil and elevated radiation levels. Those skeptics questioned the reports. The UFO landing became one of the most widely publicized alien encounter stories of the late Soviet era, symbolizing a rare moment of official interest in UFO phenomenon. That is our 3 for this week.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, that's a really bizarre, case, that third one.
It is very bizarre.
Yeah, incredibly bizarre.
You should go on
like they all,
but we only have so much time.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that a boy actually vanished in that one. And the first one is Pascagoula, which we do have some things in our archives Well, I know you're going
Yeah.
through that right now, Melissa, but you might come
Yeah.
across some more. And Dr. Irina Scott has been working very
Yes.
hard
Yes.
with Philip Mantle on the
Mhm.
Pascagoula case, and maybe we'll have them on.
Yeah, they are coming on, so we'll be talking to them in the near future.
Yes. Well, Terry, do you want to go ahead and introduce our guest for today?
Yes, yes. This guy, I mean, my goodness, this is like the resume that's over an arm long. And everything is so impressive. So, Dan Harary is the chairman and co founder of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance and a veteran Hollywood publicist with over 40 years in the entertainment industry as owner of the boutique Ashbury PR agency in Beverly Hills. And he's also worked with hundreds of celebrities and now leads efforts to connect UFO researchers and experiencers with major media and content creators. Dan has personally witnessed multiple UFOs himself, including a sighting with his father, an Army electronics engineer, which later inspired his book that he wrote After They Came. In addition, he has authored the books Flirting with Fame, My Paranormal Life, and Five. Dan is the founder, editorial director of the newly launched Wow Signal News Service, a unique new publicity distribution service for those researchers who are working across every avenue of the UFO, UAP, ET issue. The director of media relations for Contact in the Desert, the world's largest annual UFO conference, and the executive producer of the original HDA documentary, Secrets in the Spotlight, which airs on Amazon Prime. So you'll have to check that out. So please join me in welcoming Dan to our podcast tonight, right here. UFO.
You know, it's not every night I get to spend with three incredibly beautiful women who love UFOs. I mean, this is just like such a unique novel. It's just like being with a unicorn. The three of you is like being with a unicorn. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything.
You're so welcome. So impressive.
Thank you for being here, Dan. I mean,
Yes.
we have so much to cover, and like I was telling you backstage, I went back through and I was reading through your book that you sent me, and I just love the description of you and your father whenever you saw the triangle-shaped craft, and we'll get into all of that. But even your background, growing up in Jersey and everything. I actually lived in Tom's River for 3 months.
Oh, my mother lives one town over right now.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
I was there. I was in Tom's River last week. My mother lives in Manchester, New Jersey. She literally lives down the street from the Hindenburg disaster. It's a historical airfield. There's a plaque there. My mother lives down the street from the Hindenburg disaster.
Oh my God!
That's how I know where my mother lives. It's right down the street. But,
I had no idea that was out there.
There's a plaque.
Very cool.
Yeah, I grew up in that.
91. You were there for her birthday. How cool is that?
She was 91 a week ago today. God bless her, you know.
Yes.
I talked to my mother about aliens. Danny, it's enough already with the aliens. It's enough already. My mother.
I love that.
Doesn't believe. She thinks I'm crazy. But yeah, no, I grew up in Asbury Park. Mindy, I grew up near Asbury Park. And my early claim to fame is, I guess, I worked with Bruce Springsteen in 1973. I was 16 years old. I ran a rock concert hall. After high school, I used to ride my bike. I didn't even drive a car. I was the stage manager for the Sunshine Inn. Bruce Springsteen band was the house band. We didn't know he was going to be the Beatles. Nobody told us. So my best friend and I worked with Bruce, and he was a nice guy. He was penniless, didn't have a car. He didn't have a home. He used to sleep on the beach. But I worked with him in 73. And, then I went to college, and he was on the cover of Time and Newsweek. And I thought someone was playing a prank. So we knew Bruce Springsteen before he was famous.
Wow. Did you ever hang out with him outside the Tasty Freeze?
He was, you know what? He's I think in that book. No. It's in Flirting with Fame, my Hollywood book. I spent a day with Bruce Springsteen and me alone on a beach and no one else for miles. A whole day. And he was 8 years older than me. And I was, believe it or not, you guys, I was painfully shy. me. I was painfully shy on those things. So he and I nodded at each other, and that was it. And I didn't speak to him. And he was writing "Born to Run" on a blanket on the beach. There was no one else on the beach except me and Bruce Springsteen.
Wow, how
And
cool.
because he was so much older and I was shy. Anyway, then my mother comes to pick me up to drive me home, and Bruce is hitchhiking with his thumb and his guitar, hitchhiking. And we drove past, and I go, Mom, you see that guy over there? His name is Bruce Springsteen. He thinks he's a rock star. That's what I said to my mother. And we laughed. We laughed. You know, who's laughing now? The guy's a billionaire, right? Who's laughing now? But we did not pick up Bruce Springsteen.
Very cool.
Dan, you've spent 4 decades in Hollywood. So what first drew you into the UFO conversation?
Well, I'm still in Hollywood. I've been in Hollywood 45 years. Actually, the other day, October 7th, was 45 years that I've lived here.
Wow.
I moved here when I was 24. I pretty much always knew I'd end up in the entertainment industry. I came to Hollywood to be a comedy writer, and I pursued that for years and years. I actually wrote a Seinfeld script. The first year of that show, I wrote a Seinfeld spec. It's called the spec script. You read it on spec. My partner and we submitted it, and they read it, and they said, "Nice try, but no cigar." So that would have changed my life. But I became a publicist to pay the bills and support my family. Melissa, to answer your question, everything for me in ufology. Well, you know what? 2 disparate things happened. 2 very disparate things happened. I'll do the more recent one first, and then we'll do my famous 1970 story with my father. In 2007, I was at a bookstore to kill some time because I was waiting for a friend to go see a movie. And I'm walking around in a bookstore, and I saw the paranormal books aisle. And I had never heard of paranormal anything at all in my life. You know, I'd never heard of anything like this. My whole life growing up was rock and roll. Going to Hebrew school, having my bar mitzvah, playing my drums, and looking at girls that I was too shy to talk to. That was my whole life growing up.
Typical.
So now typical Jersey guy, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm in a bookstore, and I'm whatever age I was in 2007, and I see Betty and Barney Hill and Whitley Strieber, Communion, and Richard Dolan's books, and crop circles, and the pyramids, right, and Bigfoot. And Mindy, like I literally like what? my head is what? I'd never heard of any of these things ever, not even my life, ever at all. I bought like as many books as I could carry.
Oh my
I bought them, I read them, and what happened was, this is 2007. In my readings, I heard about MUFON. I had never heard of MUFON. I didn't know what MUFON was. I had never heard of it, right? So I joined SoCal MUFON in 07. My very first, and there are chapters, and it's been resurrected. Now it's called I See You. It just got resurrected by a woman. You should probably meet Mindy. Her name is Terry Lynn. So I joined in 07, and they had monthly meetings in North Hollywood at a little church. My very first MUFON meeting in my life was Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Oh my gosh.
2 years before Ancient Aliens. He was not fit. You know, he had the hair.
Yeah.
But
The hair
Was
bomb.
it here back then?
well, of course, he had the hair, but he was not famous. He was just a guy. He did, Giorgio, this is my first exposure to UFOs, Melissa. Giorgio did 90 minutes, maybe 30 people, maybe 35 people. Tiny, right? Now it would be 3,500 people.
Yeah.
He's the Bruce Springsteen of ufology now. But so he did the history of ancient alien theory. And how Eric Von Daniken was his mentor, and how, they believe that extraterrestrials implanted DNA in our ancestors, and the petroglyphs and the cave drawings of UFOs and creatures all over the world, and the crop circles and the pyramids. And then he goes to Betty and Barney and Whitley Strieber and Travis Walton. And he's doing the greatest hits of ufology. And all 3 of you, I swear to God, I sat there like this. I was crying. I was like this. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, this explains everything.
Yeah.
This explains the world. I was actually crying. I really was. At the end of 90 minutes, I hugged this guy. He's a total stranger. I go, Giorgio, I effing hugged him. I hugged him. I go, you just changed my entire philosophy and view of the entire world. And he said, cool, man, that's cool. He goes, don't tell anyone, but it's all smoke and mirrors. That was very cool when he said that. Okay, so that was my entree in the modern era. Now, more recently, and I've never told anyone this ever.
Oh, this is exclusive.
I've never told anyone this ever. The reason, Melissa, when I was in that bookstore in 2007, and I just remembered this recently, when I was looking at those paranormal books, I had a 2 or 3 second flash in my brain. I've never said this out loud, of the 1970 UFO sighting with my father. I had a flash for a second, like a UFO was in my head for a second. And then I'm like, oh, I need to buy UFO books. I've never said that before, but that's true. Okay.
Well, I definitely believe in divine synchronicity.
Yeah.
That was steering me into my, and 2007 is many years ago. Now, the big picture, I guess, Mindy, maybe we should do the 70 original story. You know?
Look at that. There you are.
Yeah. So, Dan, after your father passed, you actually discovered that he had done classified work with radar, drones, missile technology, and his death actually inspired this book after they came. How did you research your dad, and what did you learn about him after his passing?
Well, and he was an Army electronics engineer. Do you think that had anything to do with him being involved in all of this? Or
yes, very much so. Yes.
Go ahead and walk us through that experience, if you would.
Very much. Well, in this picture, do you see his pocket protector with his pencils and his pens?
Yeah.
Cute.
If he's not an engineer, if my dad was not an engineer, right? Nobody was. I mean, he always had those his whole life. Even after he retired, he had those dopey things in his pocket. My dad was a physicist and electronics engineer for the Army at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, not far from Asbury Park. And he worked there from 1951 to 1996, 45 years. God bless him. Okay. I was never, ever on that base. I never saw my father at work. My mother never was on the base. It was top secret. Okay. All right. March 1970, my dad picked me up one day from school in his car to drive me home. It's in the afternoon. I'm going to say it's 3 o'clock. It's a sunny, perfect day, suburban New Jersey. And I've told this story probably 5,000 times. We're driving the car, and it's all true. And every time I tell it, it's like, I don't even believe it's true, but it's true. We're driving the car. He's talking to me. I'm telling him what new rock and roll records. I wanted to buy the new Jimi Hendrix album, I remember. But Dad,
that was a good one.
The new Jimi Hendrix
that was really good.
Band of Gypsies. That's how I know the date.
Ah.
And as we were, did I do something here? What did I do? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. As we're driving, he's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. I look through the windshield. Bright sunny day. Huge silver V. I can never do this right. Huge silver V is hovering above my poor father's car. It's just hovering for no apparent reason. It's like the size of a pyramid from Egypt. It's like one of the great 7 wonders of the world. And I look. I saw it. I go, Dad, stop the car. Dad, stop the car. There's a UFO. Dad, stop the car. He stopped. I'm 13, by the way. Okay, 13 years old. He stopped the car. We got out. We stood in front of the car. My dad and I stood in front of the car, and this 7th wonder of the world is hovering above my father's car. Shiny silver V, very, very shiny, pointy tips, no smoke, no lights, no sound, right? No propellers. I mean, nothing that would allow this giant thing to just be hovering there for no reason. I'm jumping up and down, and I'm saying, Dad, it's Star Trek. Dad, look, Dad. This is 1970, right? I mean, Star Trek was a new TV show. Dad, look, it's Star Trek. Dad, look. And my father, you guys, he looked at it like this. Looking at his watch, looking at his shoes, looking at his car. I should get the car washed. Couldn't care less. Any one, the 4 of us, we'd be high-fiving. We'd be dancing, singing. We'd be making love on the sidewalk, right? My dad was like, couldn't care less. How could you not care less?
Just another day for
thing.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, Mindy, I didn't know that for another 50 years, but we'll get to that part. So we just looked at it like it was commonplace, like nothing whatsoever. After a couple of minutes, he goes, "Come on, kid, let's go home." Okay, we get in the car, and I recently remembered that the V then followed the car for another few blocks to our house, and then it took off slowly and went away. And a few years ago, someone got me on email and said, "Dan, my brother and two sisters saw that same V that same night that you saw it in March 70 in Jersey."
Really?
Someone else saw it. No, it wasn't just me and my dad. Someone else saw that. We go home, 1970, rotary phone. I run into the kitchen. I call the Asbury Park Press, my hometown newspaper. "Hi, my name is Danny. I'm 13. I just saw a UFO with my dad. It was this big silver UFO." The lady said, "Sonny, I can't talk to you right now. I'm getting hundreds of phone calls about this. I'm very sorry. I have to go." I remember clearly that's what she told me. She hung up on me. That was that. No article ever ran in the paper. I looked every day that week. And my dad and I never discussed it ever.
Again, huh?
Never, ever, ever. Plus, on top of that, at dinner that night, we didn't even tell, and I can't explain this. We didn't tell my mother or my two younger brothers. It was like, oh, okay. It was like, oh, okay. It's like we saw a dead mouse in the road. It's like, nothing. How do you not discuss that?
Yeah.
I think they do that, Dan. I think they do that.
Okay, well, wait till you hear part two.
Okay,
So
part two.
That's part one. I forgot, you guys, and this is all true, man. I forgot that happened for 47 years.
It happens.
Other than the flash in the bookstore, which I just told Melissa, you're the first person I've ever told. In 2 seconds, it was the shiny silver V for 2 seconds. But other than that, 47 years, nothing. I didn't remember it. I didn't think about it. My dad passed in 2017, but nothing. It just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing at all. Okay, now, so what happened 47 years later? My dad died. So here's where I know what happened.
Crazy. That's crazy.
I turned down my mic. Okay. My dad died. So my dad died in Florida, 86. Alzheimer's, stage 4 prostate cancer. Horrible, horrible death. I was not there.
goodness.
I said goodbye to him on the phone. I saw him a few months before. He didn't know who I was. Horrible, horrible death. His wife called me from Florida. "Your father passed." Okay. A few days later, here in LA, I went to our favorite deli. My dad and I, when he used to come visit me, we used to go to this deli and get pastrami sandwiches together because we're Jews from the East Coast, and that's what Jews do.
Right.
Jews eat pastrami. Hello, that's what Jews do. I went to Junior's Deli. It's down the street from UCLA, and I swear on my daughter, everything I'm about to tell you is true. I sat down. I ordered a pastrami sandwich 3 days after my father died. The waiter walked away. I'm sitting there thinking, boy, am I going to miss my father? Okay. A beam of light or energy or something, a beam from above, came through the air and hit me on the head like knuckles, hard, like bang on my head, bang, like this, really hard.
Wow.
And then here's the best part: through my brain and my eyes was then projected into the air, perfect square, high definition 3D color hologram of the 1970 UFO sighting with audio. Okay.
Wow.
47 years later, it played at the deli. I'm waiting for my sandwich, and it played. It's the car, my dad, me, and the V. Now, people have said to me, "Dan, this is a memory." It's not a memory. I'm in the movie. How could it be a memory? I'm in the movie. I'm watching me jumping up and down, going, "Dad, it's Star Trek."
Wow.
I watched it in the air. It was perfectly like a rectangle, perfect rectangle, sharp edges. It was like a high def projection. It played. It played through my brain and my eyes.
Right.
It played. So
you were watching as a third person then.
I'm watching a whole movie in the deli that I'm the star of. For 50 years later. Explain that one, Terry.
I don't know if you were the star, Dan. It was probably the object.
No, my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it played. I swear to you, this is true. So I said, "Dad, look, UFO, Star Trek." And this time, my dad looked at me, and in the little video, this time he looked down at me. He winked at me this time, winked.
Oh,
And then he said, "Come on, kid, let's go home." And then the whole thing was maybe 30 seconds. And then it just dissipated into pixels. It just dissipated. Okay. Now it's gone. So I'm shaking. I'm shaking. My heart's racing. I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I remember that. Holy God.
Yeah.
I can't. Okay. Then here's the next part of this story. I'm clairaudient. And Mindy, you'll see in the book, my paranormal book, every maybe 10 years, I get a message. In my right ear, I then heard, get a pen, get a pen, get a pen, get a pen. You need a pen, you need a pen, get a pen, get a pen. I asked my waiter for a pen, put it in my right hand. There's a paper placement on the table at the deli. My hand, you guys, did automatic writing. I've never even heard of it at the time. And I've never done it before or since. My hand wrote, write a book about benevolent aliens. Lead character's father knew about UFOs. Capital A, capital T, capital C. My hand put the pen down. I'm holding this paper and I'm shaking. I'm going, what the hell? I just want a pastrami. I'm starving, right? Where's my sandwich, right? I'm shaking. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm in the twilight. What's happening? So I looked and looked. And after, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, ATC, I came up with okay. So I'm like, okay, write a book about benevolent aliens. Well, I guess I have to write a book. I just went for a sandwich, right? Lead character's father knew about UFOs. My father just died.
wow.
So clearly, my father knew about UFOs. If the lead character's father knew about UFOs.
Right.
And ATC, I got the book. So I finally got my sandwich. I inhaled it. I raced home. And from that day, every single day for 1 year, exactly 1 year, I wrote that book. I researched it and wrote that book. One of you asked me how I researched my dad. So the first thing I did when I got home that day, now my mom, as you know, my mom's still alive. They got divorced in the 70s, but they were together for like 30 years when they were very, very young. I said, Mom, an incredible thing just happened to me. Did Dad ever talk to you about UFOs? My mother told me a story I had never heard in my life. This is, I think, the same day when I came home from the deli. She said, in the early 1960s, your dad came home one day from the army base. He was very upset. He was pale and shaking. He was very upset, very nervous. My mother said to my father, honey, what's wrong? My father said to my mother, I saw something today in the vaults at the base. It's above top secret. I can never tell you or anyone about it as long as I live. My father then walked down the hall, and my mother says, your father was never the same after that day. Now, do you guys know the Jackie Gleason, Richard Nixon story?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know the
Very
Richard
cool.
Nixon, Jackie Gleason story.
Mhm.
Marilyn Gleason said Jackie Gleason saw aliens with Nixon. He was never the same after that day.
No one is. Yeah.
What did my father see? Well, he saw a UFO or a chunk of technology where they worked, they invented, and I'll get to that in a minute, where my father worked was an incredible place. It was the Army's top secret warehouse workshop for technology. They invented thousands of things they invented there. It was either a ship or a chunk of technology. I don't think it was a living or dead alien. I don't think it was. Maybe it was, but my mother said, she said, and she meant it, my father was never the same after that day. My father saw something. Okay, that's number one. Number two, about a week after my father died, I went through my old scrapbooks of photos to think about him, and I found a piece of orange paper. This piece of orange paper is very amazing. In this piece of paper, this is a profile of my dad from his workplace from May 1985. He gave this to me in May 1985. I never read it. My father invented laser-guided drones for the Army. Invented.
What?
My father invented. It's here. It's in writing. I have it in writing.
Wow. That's pretty epic.
He did it at White Sands Missile Range, October 1975.
Wow.
Very
That's
cool.
like a major genius drone guy.
Mhm.
Okay, that's number 2. So he saw something remarkable. He invented drones for the Army, right? Okay, now we come to the next part. When I was writing after they came, I was reading Richard Dolan's book, this book, UFOs and the National Security State. In the back of this book is a chart of hundreds of UFO sightings from the 40s, I think, through the 80s, above U.S. military bases.
Yeah.
In 1951 and 1952, there were 2 major UFO sightings over Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, where my dad worked. My dad just started working there a few months earlier.
Yep. Yeah.
And my dad worked in the radar branch. There's no way on earth that my father did not hear about that. It's impossible.
Right.
My dad worked in the radar branch from 51 and 52. He had just started, and there were 2 major sightings in a row where he worked. That's that one.
Goodness.
Okay, now the story gets better. Then I read this book, Fort Monmouth, the U.S. Army's House of Magic.
Mm-hmm.
This book says, and I forgot to write it down, but they invented, where my dad worked, first of all, they invented radar itself in the 1930s, okay,
Right.
before my dad got there. They invented radar.
Mm-hmm.
They invented air-to-ground radio transmissions, night vision goggles, walkie-talkies, FM radio. They invented FM radio at Fort Monmouth.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe FM was for Fort Monmouth. I just thought of that, FM. Maybe that's why they called it FM. They invented thousands and thousands of things that the Army used for military purposes, and many of those things, like the FM radio, went into the popular culture. Okay, look at this. I mean, where my dad worked, he was surrounded by geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also in this book, a couple of things. Have you ever heard of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg? Do you guys know about that?
Mm-mm.
They were communist spies in the 40s.
Yes.
They were sentenced to death. They were spying on U.S. technology for Russia. Julius Rosenberg worked at Fort Monmouth 10 years before my dad got there. Julius Rosenberg worked there. Also, you guys know about Operation Paperclip, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
There were dozens of Nazi Germans worked
Yes.
with my dad. And someone just told me recently, they put Jewish people like my dad in charge of those Nazi guys to get back at them.
Wow, that is very cool.
My dad had Nazi guys working under him. My father. Don't you? My father, the most Jewish man who ever lived, had Nazis working for him. I think that's great.
Oh, very cool.
And here's this, and then I have one more thing, and then I'll conclude. I read this book just recently. This is called Joseph McCarthy, Fort Monmouth, and the Deep State. In this book, take a long time to describe it, but in this book, one of the military officers who worked at Fort Monmouth in the 40s and 50s and 60s said under oath that Fort Monmouth was involved with Project Blue Book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now Fort Monmouth was an Army base. Project Blue Book, as you know, was Air Force. So where my father worked, was somehow involved. I think they probably analyzed and assessed technology. My dad, all of it, he was a physicist. Everything they did had to do with technology. Okay, so in this book, it says that they were involved with Project Blue. Well, that was unbelievable. Okay.
Your dad must have been a very brilliant man to be involved in all of this.
He was a genius, I told you. And his brother was even a bigger genius than him. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing, when I was writing the book, Stephen Greer did a press conference about U.S. military bases that he has proof of through his disclosure project that have recovered UFO technology on site. 150 U.S. military bases, Stephen Greer has it, proof of through his whistleblowers, okay? It was on TV years ago. It was on TV. I freeze framed it. He has a chart of 150 U.S. military bases. Huge chart. I freeze framed the TV. I got up with my finger. Fort Monmouth, New Jersey was number 51 on his chart. Fort Monmouth.
Of course.
So Conclusion. When my dad and I saw the UFO, he knew.
He knew. Absolutely.
Not only did he know what it was, perhaps he was involved with it. Perhaps he had designed it. Perhaps he had been in communication with the entities that ran it. My father saw it, and it was like he was looking at like a balloon at when you get at a barber shop for kids. It's like looking at a balloon. He had no expression whatsoever. How do you not have an expression?
Right.
Because he didn't want to involve you, Dan. He might have been thinking, I don't want my son following in these footsteps. You know, that.
Terry, it was okay. Well, it was more than that. It was more than that. But you remember the whole movie I got at the deli, I believe in my heart, was from my Father from heaven.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's what, because I was incredibly close to him. And in fact, he spoke to me that whole week that he died. He visited me 4 other times in my room after he was saying, Danny, remember the UFO we saw in 1970? I was involved with that. I couldn't tell you then. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm dead now. I'm on the other side. I no longer have a non-disclosure agreement with the Army. I wanted you to know that I was involved with that. I swear to God, it was my dad from heaven. And he told me.
I believe it.
I truly believe that. I think that all of that just kind of comes into play. You get that spiritual, you get that very strange, high strangeness, and extraterrestrial, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, I got the greatest hits all in one story, didn't I?
The trifecta.
So then my book. So I wrote my book 2017, 2018. It took me 5 years to get it published. That was torture. But finally, when it got published, then I met Stephen Bassett, and then that's when my modern era of ufology really happened.
That is very cool.
That's a great story.
I was invited. Yeah. I tell people I was invited in. I was invited in.
It sounds like you were directed in.
Yeah,
I was. Yeah. Either my father or the ETs. I was invited in.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I came in, then everything happened. You guys know. And I'm not bragging because it's amazing to me. But I created the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. I became the publicist for Contact in the Desert. I have my own podcast live from Hollywood. It's Paranormal Tonight. I created the Wow Signal news service. I've been doing lectures and interviews all over the world for 3 years. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It's a good intro into my next question for you, actually.
Yeah,
because you've worked with major celebrities and media outlets for decades. So when did you realize that Hollywood could actually play a real role in disclosure?
I'm still realizing that now, but let me just back up a hair. When I met Steve Bassett, it was at the UFO Con San Francisco, March 2023. I met him. I gave him a copy of my book. He spoke. He was brilliant. I never knew him before. And he said, Dan, what do you do? I said, I'm a publicist. You're a publicist? You're a publicist because I need a Hollywood publicist. I want a publicist. So we exchanged cards. 2 months later, May 2023, 2 months later, he came to LA. We had a 4-hour lunch, you guys, just me and him, 4-hour lunch in Hollywood at an Italian restaurant. He told me his life story. I told him my life story. Melissa, to answer your question, Steve Bassett looked at me and said, Dan, I've been a disclosure guy for 30 years. You've been a Hollywood guy for 40 years. And to Steve Bassett's credit, he said to me, what can we do together? Okay. So Melissa, I went like this. I swear, and this is all true. I looked up at the sky, 10 seconds. I go, we're going to create the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. And he goes, that's it. That's it. That's exactly right. That's it. And we shook hands. And that was it. And that's how it was born. Literally in those 10 seconds.
Wow.
Now, here's a funny part of the story. 4 days later was Contact in the Desert 2023. I had never been there in my life to any of them. I'd heard about it. I didn't want to schlep out to Palm Springs and drive for 3.5 hours in my car. He goes, Dan, you got to go. You got to go. I'll introduce you. You got to go. You got to. I'm like, okay. He put me up in his room. He had 2 beds. So I'm like, okay, I'll go just to shut him up. I really didn't even want to go. I'm with Steve Bassett. Now, if you're with Steve Bassett at Contact in the Desert, it's like being with Paul McCartney, okay? I'm like behind him. It's like, Steven, like pictures and the autographs. And like, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I'm right behind him. I'm like, Stephen, oh, I love you. It's like, I'm with one of the Beatles. I'm like with Ringo. I'm like with a Beatle, right? It's like, holy God. I guess people really know this guy. He introduced me to Paul Hynek and Richard Dolan and Nick Pope and Ron Janix and Ron James and Katie Page. And just the list went on, right? Stephen and I, George Norrie. George Norrie was the first person we actually told. Stephen and I said to George Norrie, George, we just created the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. George Norrie grabbed my shoulder and said, Danny, I want to be your first member. I go, George, you're our first member. This is a true story. So at the end of that conference in 2023, we had the top people in the world, Whitley Strieber, Travis, I mean, the list was endless. And right? Yep. All we had was, wait, I can never do this. I'm retarded. All we had was these three words. We go, at the end of the show, we go, what do we do now? Stephen goes, I don't know. I have no idea. We had no idea. We had three words. That's all we had was three words. That summer, 2 years ago, we met with my daughter. My daughter's a brilliant graphic artist. She created the logo. Then she created our website. And Stephen, after months and months of laboring, Stephen came up with that fact. It's a networking group. We finally came up with our mission statement. It's a networking group to bring together for the first time UAP and ET experiencers, researchers, and disclosure advocates like him with Hollywood writers, producers, directors, and performers. It took us months. It took us really 6 months to come up with what the hell HDA was. So when we came up with what it was, the logo, my daughter did the website. He invited all his peers. I invited all my peers. We cut and paste our people together. 2 years ago, November 1st, this coming, it's almost 2 years exactly, we launched in Hollywood at an event, at a luncheon. And from that day till today, 2 years later, my life has just, it's changed so remarkably and so quickly. I'm friends with Dolan and Pope. Nick Pope texts me. I'm friends with these people. I hang out. I've had dinners with Nick Pope and we're getting drunk. I mean, it's just how my life changed so remarkably quickly. So I was invited in. I'm very grateful. It's been a lot of fun. I love working with you guys in your bureau. And now I'm just babbling.
No, I'm loving this because, Dan, I didn't realize you were at the Alien Con in 2023. I was there. I actually spoke there.
Yeah.
That's where I first met Nick Pope, and I got my picture taken with Eric. I got my picture taken with Eric Von Daniken there.
I did it. I was sitting in the room with him, and I was like, I'm not worthy. I didn't even approach you.
Well, I stood in line. I had to pay $50, but you have to pay $50. I stood in line.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know.
And I handed Eric Von Daniken my book, and I handed it to him. I go, Eric, I'd like you to have this book. Thank you for all you've done for us. He goes, oh, I haven't read this yet. I go, Eric, it just came out yesterday.
Oh, no.
And he gave it to his assistant. Here, he probably never read it, but I handed it to him. That was cool.
You know what's so neat? Another thing I was going to bring up is you named your book after they came. My book is Dying to Meet Them. And Dr. Rogers just came out with his. We got it from them. And I believe Whitley Strieber has one called Them.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to tell you that's exactly right.
Yes, it's bizarre how we've all kind of just settled on them because there's not a better way to put it. Yeah.
We don't really know who or what they are.
Yeah.
There are so many, this better than me. I mean, there's so many theories. They're us from the future, which I love. I love that one. They're from other planets and solar systems. That's boring, right? They're interdimensional beings. Avi Loeb thinks they're interdimensional beings. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Have you heard this term crypto-terrestrial?
Yeah.
They're from the Earth itself, and we just never knew that they were here.
Earth, yeah.
Yeah, inner Earth and inner ocean.
And it could be all of the above.
Exactly.
Right? My friend Craig Campobasso, do you guys know Craig Campobasso?
Craig. Yes, I know Craig. Yeah.
In his book, Extraterrestrial Almanac, he lists and defines 82 species of ETs. 82. I saw him recently. I said, Craig, 82, man, that's so cool. He goes, Dan, there's 140. My publisher wouldn't let me go past 82. Yeah. So I said, Craig, you have a sequel, man. You got to do a sequel. So we don't know. I mean, none of us know, or maybe people in the black military, whoever controls all this, the secrecy, maybe they know all this stuff. I have a dear friend who's friends with Pleiadians for 60 years. Literally, they visit him every 5 years since the age of 5. Mark Glenn Moore. He'd be someone you guys might want to talk to. He has been friends with Pleiadians for 60 years. They've changed his life. Today, he's a multimillionaire. It's very successful.
Wow. Send them my way.
And then I have, as you guys have, I have female friends who've been abducted, impregnated, had their fetuses removed, and years later they meet their hybrid children, which Camille Harmon and Deborah Cobble and my friend Ella LeBain, and it's just heartbreaking. They meet their children, and Camille says, "I want to take my child back to Earth," and the alien said, "No, you wouldn't know how to feed it."
Yeah, they don't eat like we do.
Yeah, I guess they don't go to Olive Garden on Saturday.
That's just a whole level of trauma on top of already being removed from your environment. I haven't really dove into those stories a lot.
Mindy, I have a million people I could send you. A million people. Did I ever? By the way, because Melissa, you just were talking about Pascagoula. Do you guys know Darcy Weir? Have I?
Very well.
Darcy just joined the Bureau.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you interviewed him on this show?
He will be. We'll get him plugged in soon. Yes, and I know you had sent me an email, and the next thing I know, Darcy's giving me a call.
Yeah, that's funny because he hired me to be his publicist, but he has a 4-part docuseries on Pascagoula. Mm-hmm. In fact, Philip Mantle is the narrator of it. He's an authority on Pascagoula. You might want to throw him into the mix or something.
Yes, I'd love to get Philip on and Dr. Irina because I know they just came out with their book, and I had talked with Philip and sent him a couple of things that we had in our archives from Hayden Hughes from back in the day. Whenever he had sent an investigator out to go speak with the gentlemen that were involved with Pascagoula.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever connected with Paul Hynek?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, Paul's around.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Dan, I think it's so interesting, like in the last few years, how things like the Bureau has popped up and the way that you're describing how the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance came together. And it was just a thought and it took you months to work it out. It seems like people are being raised up right now from within the community, and it's shifting somewhat.
Yes,
I agree. Some people have said to me, more and more of us, and I include all 4 of us, are becoming quote unquote activated.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. So
because that's exactly how the IUFOB came to be. We had nothing to do with it. Everything just that was happening had this beautiful silver lining involved. And Mindy and I were just like, well, what do we do now? And it was like, boom. And it was so obvious, but it unfolded so quickly. And our first post had over 70,000 views and then 140,000 views. And people were coming to us in droves from other places. Oh, we want to join. We want to be a part of the collaborative network. And so
we're still building it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I need you guys. I need you guys to do my publicity for HDA because I never got 70,000 of anything.
Oh no!
I get 7D. I get like 7D, not 70,000.
Well, we put Melissa out front because she's the younger of this one.
Yeah, Melissa, if you freelance, I need to talk to you.
You could try wearing a crop top.
If I look like you, maybe it would be a lot more helpful. Well, Terry, what you said about you and Mindy was me and Steven. We met all the summer of 2023. We'd have meals and meals. What the hell is HDA? I don't know. What do you think it is? I don't know. Is it a club? I don't know what it is. We didn't know what it was. We really did not know.
But it's fulfilling your purpose. I mean, so what kind of projects are currently in development with HDA?
Okay, that's a logical next question. In the last 2 years, Darcy Weir's newest doc that just came out called The Psychic Phenomenon. Many of his people in there he met through or worked through HDA. Ron James's next film is called Accidental Truth Next. It comes out in December. We did a sneak preview of it from HDA last month in LA. many of the people he interviewed for Accidental Truth Next, he met through the HDA. I produced a doc called Secrets in the Spotlight earlier this year. We interviewed a bunch of major people on the fly at Conscious Life Expo. Danny Sheehan, Stephen, Ron James, Ron Janix, Thomas Jane. I mean, we just, Britt Elders, it was fabulous. And we put it together on a shoot, $0, literally had no budget. And we sold it to Amazon, and I've seen $0, and I never will see any money because all I do is invest in my UFO hobbies and lose tens of
Don't we
thousands
all?
of dollars. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on my hobbies. Thank God I'm a publicist. My publicist stuff pays the bills for my UFO stuff.
Well, the truth is our podcasts make us world renowned, but there's really not much money in any of them.
You don't pursue this field for money. There's a woman named May K. Beeler in North or South Carolina. I forget which Carolina. She has a TV show called We Are Not Alone. Every one of her guests so far has been an HDA member through me. And there is a new doc in development as we speak that I put together, different parties together. They're working together. It's going to be about the Magenta UFO crash in Italy in 1933. 1930, which Mussolini and the Pope covered up in Italy. That is actively in development. It's the Magenta UFO crash. All of those things were through HDA. I would say mostly documentaries are happening through HDA. Big picture about Hollywood is next summer, you probably all know this, Steven Spielberg's next movie is called Disclosure. And it comes out next June. And if Steven Spielberg doesn't hit the nail on the head with Disclosure, then no one ever will, right? I mean, he's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit about your Wow Signal News. I know that's been growing very fast. And what stories are making the biggest impact for you right now? Probably 3i Atlas.
I was away last week. I'm behind on my 3i Atlas. When I met Steve Bassett 2 years ago, one of the first things I said to him was, Stephen, where do you go to read UFO news? He goes, nowhere in particular. And I said, I'm a publicist for 40 years. There has to be a singular news service, a news source for people to send in press releases about their research and their experiences, and also byline articles and photos and things that people go to. Like you go to one, like the New York Times. I should call it the New York Times of ufology, but it's one source, right? I said that to Stephen 2 years ago. And I thought about it, you guys, for 2 years. Literally in my head, it was in my head for 2 years. I went to my daughter, the genius graphic artist. I said, Anjali, I want to create the Wow Signal. This logo is Anjali. Anjali did those ones and zeros by hand, you guys.
Really?
Every one of those is by hand.
I love her name, by the way. It's gorgeous.
Anjali. It means to give. It's a Hindu word, and she's not Hindu, but it means to give, like an offering to God or something.
It's like what Jim Preston saw.
So Anjali created this logo. And then because I'm the head of HDA, obviously I have HDA news. I have Stephen Bassett's news. More recently, and I love you, all three of you very much. I get your news. I get Danny Sheehan's news. I've done stories for Paul Hynek. I've done stories for Nick Pope. Last week, we did Gary Nolan's story about the Soul Symposium in Italy.
Awesome.
I get information from Australia, from the UK, from Italy, from Greece. There's a guy in Greece that sends me articles all the time from Greece. I don't even know where Greece is on a map. I don't think I could find it. But it's become really quite remarkable. To answer you, Terry, things that like sell tickets or like Contact in the Desert, we got so much press. When we launched, it was conjunction with Contact in the Desert. Well, we might be involved with Conscious Life Expo coming up in February. But anything where there's viewership or ticket, people write to me and say, Dan, we just sold 50 tickets to such and such. I'm like, great. I wish I made $1 out of it, but good. I don't make a dime, but good for you. But it's really been quite remarkable. My daughter and I own it. Ron James has been very helpful. He helped to get MUFON, corporate MUFON, blessed the Wow Signal. Well, on that day, that was a good day because they blasted out to their lists. You guys do as well. My friend Costa Macreas in the Bay Area, 150,000 email list. He blasts it out every week. All of these are media partnerships, as you guys know, because you guys are a media partner. KGRA proper is one. Margie K's on X Network is a media partner. Lynn Katai. So I've cut and pasted together something very, very cool. I'm very, very proud of it. And it's fun to be a publisher editor of a newspaper kind of thing.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, you get to know what all the big breaking stories are right now. You're the first one to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I tend to get some. I've turned a few things down if they were like really off the wall, or if they were like on the religious side of things.
Oh yeah.
I'll go to Lisa Strickland and Steve Bassett. I'll say, "Is this a wow? Yes or no?" They'll say, "No, don't touch this one." So those two are mine. Do you know Lisa Strickland, Mindy?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I'll have to hook you up with Lisa. She's great. She's on our board of directors. I'll hook you up separately. More questions. Give me questions.
Dan, we're actually
oh no, I'm just getting warmed up. What are you talking about?
I know.
I'm just getting started.
Have
I could do another 3 hours easily.
I know. So could we, but you know how
Let's
that goes.
schedule you to come back, Dan.
Yes.
This has been so much fun. I just love your stories.
That's very
And
sweet.
thank you so much for joining us today, because where can our listeners follow your work with HDA, your books or upcoming projects? Are you on Amazon? And
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so my 4 books plus my sex book I don't talk about. They're all on Amazon. If you Google Dan Harary, spell my name correctly. And by the way, after they came, the audiobook came out recently. It took me a year to record it.
Oh, those are great.
After they came is on audiobook. Those are my big 4. After they came, we talked about my paranormal life, a true memoir of real things that happened to me that are weird. Flirting with Fame is my Hollywood career with Springsteen and Spielberg and Jerry Seinfeld before he was famous. I mean, I have so many, Mel Brooks, so many stories. And then 5 is a murder mystery. They're all on Amazon. The HollywoodDisclosureAlliance.org, HollywoodDisclosureAlliance.org. If you're interested, there's a join button right there. It tells you how to join. We have 240 members. I'd love to hit 300 this year. That would be great. And the wowsignal.news, the wowsignal.news. If you have news, UFO photo, every week we have the UAP photo of the week. I love those. I love doing that. Send in anything cool, fun, and unusual to editor@thewowsignal.news. And then for me personally, danharariauthor.com, danharariauthor.com.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so very much. I know, Melissa, you had a question you wanted to ask, and people can reach out to us with that.
Yes. Do you think Hollywood will be the driving force that finally pushes UFO disclosure into the mainstream? And should entertainment be responsible for telling that truth?
Hollywood will not do it. The government will listen. Steve Bassett's going to kill me. I don't think. Okay, I haven't told him this to his face because I don't want to break his heart. I don't think disclosure capital is going to happen in our lifetime. I don't think it's going to happen. No one.
No.
Trump, the king, the Pope, Putin. There is no gain for any of them. There is zero gain. It's only problems. Disclosure will happen through us experiencers.
That's right.
Getting our voices louder and louder and louder. Documentaries. Melissa, I even think Spielberg's film, for what I read about it, it's fiction. I don't even think it's the real stuff. Oh, there's another project coming through HDA. Thomas Jane is working on the Roswell, the real story.
Yeah.
As a TV series. That's all through HDA. I forgot about that one. Roswell, the real story.
He's supposed to be on in a few weeks.
Yeah,
Thomas is great, man. I love that guy. He doesn't wear shoes. Thomas Jane doesn't wear shoes. Thomas, why don't you wear shoes, Thomas? I effing hate shoes. Who hates shoes?
He's grounded.
Who hates shoes? Thomas Jane invented the sentence, I effing hate shoes. I hate black licorice. Thomas Jane hates shoes.
I love black licorice.
Oh, no.
Did his father beat him with a shoe when he was 5?
Maybe.
I hate shoes.
Yes.
Thomas about shoes. His head will
Oh my gosh, that's going to be a good
We'll
one.
have to tease him about it when we get him on here.
I love that guy. I love
Yeah.
that guy. He's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
So, Terry, next week, who are we having on?
Well, next week we have Dr. Greg Rogers coming on discussing his new book, We Got It From Then. So, this is going to be another great time with Dr. Greg. He is amazing. Love that guy.
I met him at Contact in the Desert for a few minutes. Nice guy.
He's awesome.
Awesome.
He
He's
is
one of our
awesome,
favorite
man.
people.
So that's Wednesday, October 22nd of 2025, 7 p.m. Central. Same time, same place. So we hope we see you all again. Thank you for watching us.
Yep. Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. I love all you guys. It's so much fun. I'm so glad we're all. I tell people we're all in the same boat. We're all pretty much rowing in the same direction. The question is it a waterfall? We're going to get killed, or are we going to sail on into heaven and have peace and love and God embrace us? Nobody. We don't know yet. But that's what makes the adventure interesting.
Awesome.
That's interesting.
All right, Dan. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks for everything. Thank you, guys.
As always, thanks for joining us on the Bureau. Visit internationalUFObureau.com and follow us on social media to stay connected. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and never stop demanding the truth.
That's right.